So first, I would be remiss in acknowledging that I have a wonderful wife. So she told me to say that. No, she didn't. So I want to talk a little bit about uncertainty and our role in research. I would say everybody in this room is really familiar with uncertainty. We live with it every day. We get new medications. We're hearing all of this talk about different medications. We try a medication. Is it actually helping? Is it making things worse? Sometimes we don't know. That uncertainty is something that we have to work through daily. Are we the only people experiencing this at 3 o'clock in the morning awake with our kids? And the answer to that is no. Lots of people are. But some of you have heard me tell this story before. I like to tell stories. So whoever's heard this before, you get to hear it again. When we first met Dr. David Smith at Cincinnati Children's to help us with Jack's sleep issues, he gave me a research paper. He said, "You might find this interesting." And my first reaction to this was more of a, holy crap, this is a real research paper and I don't know how to read it. So it took a while for me to digest it. But once I did, I understood that the paper was talking about mTOR and circadian rhythms, and a research team led through the University of Florida had done research with mice that had mTOR mutations, and those mice were given rapamycin, and it screwed up their sleep in some of the studies. That was what was happening to Jack. We decided to start Jack with rapamycin, and it had some positive effects, but we also noticed that pretty quickly his sleep, which was never very good to begin with, got much worse. And we found ourselves then back in that land of uncertainty. Where do we go from here? We're seeing some good things. We're seeing some really terrible things. We go to our first family conference, and at that first family conference, Andrew Liu was an attendee. I had read his paper, and his paper showed that mice were experiencing the same thing that our son was experiencing. That was the first time we had ever had any sort of research that connected an experience that our son was having with something that was being done in a lab. That was a life-changing moment for me, and I was super excited to meet Andrew because I wanted to tell him, your work matters. It meant something to us. And my first opportunity to meet Andrew was during a break. We left the room to the break. I followed him out of the room. I'm coming after him, and he walks into the bathroom. So I walk into the bathroom with him, and I thought, okay, not the right time for me to tell him how excited I was to meet him. So I waited. I waited until we were back out in the hallway. And when we were back out in the hallway, I said, thank you. This is very meaningful work that you're doing. That moment is something that sticks with me. The story sticks with me because, one, it was really awkward. It didn't go down the way I thought it was going to go down. So that's probably the main reason I remember this story. But the other thing that it reminds me is that research isn't something that is just happening to our community. It's not out there. People are doing this research, and sometimes it is something that affects us, sometimes it isn't. But research is something that we are all a part of. When we don't know answers, when we feel that uncertainty, it's easy for us to feel powerless. Science is slow, way too slow. Sorry, guys. Progress takes too much time, and answers generally don't come in the order or the timeline that we want them to, that we need them to. But one way that we can take back some power is by participating in the research. We can enroll in studies. Lindsay was up here. If you haven't talked to Lindsay, she's really nice. She does send a lot of surveys, but she's really nice, very approachable. Talk to Lindsay. Enroll in the studies. We can show up to conferences like this one. You guys all made a big commitment to be here. This is important. We can learn enough by coming to these conferences, by trying to read research papers that are way over our head, to be able to ask questions. We can donate We can try to get other people to donate money to fund that research. And we can get to know the people who are doing the research. That's a very important part for us. As a community and as individuals, we matter in the process. Our observations matter. We've heard today our documentation matters, our stories matter, and our willingness to partner matters. We're hearing from a lot of people today. They're talking about a lot of science. They've chosen to be here. They've chosen to work on problems that are affecting our kids, that are affecting our families and our relationships in our families. They've chosen to be here to try to create a better future for us. And they've chosen uncertainty too. Though what I hope out of this conference for all of us is that you guys talk to the researchers, find a researcher during the break, talk to them, ask them questions, share your stories with them, talk about what you're seeing. When families and researchers, when we navigate that uncertainty together, I think that becomes something that we can move through. It's not just something that we endure. And so that's my hope for all of us today, is that the hope in research is that we follow the researchers into the hallway, not the bathroom. Follow them into the hallway, introduce yourself, ask questions, and share all of our stories, because that's when the real science happens, is when we can all get together and share our stories and know that what we're doing matters and what they're doing matters, and let them know that. So anyway, thank you, everybody.